Hello, my name is Gabi. I'm doing this video to try to share my testimony in regards to what Jesus did for me. So, 8 years ago, I was still living in Buenos Aires. I was having a very self-centered life, never truly thinking about God, just really concentrated in regards to my aims and my career and money and yeah, everything that this world really had to offer. And I was not really thinking about God at all, honestly. He was not present in my life. Um, and then, sometime around half 2012, all of a sudden, honestly, I started having like this feeling that I needed to live the life I was doing. That if I stayed there like that, it would be as if I was dead. And that I needed to find God. And honestly, it was very shocking to me. It was really an urgency. It was not very rational. In fact, I really started thinking that I was going mad. Back then I had a really good job, a high paid position, and I was finishing my studies to become a lawyer, and all these things that were happening in my life. And all of a sudden having this urgency in me that didn't really let me be at peace with the life I was having, which I was really content about weeks before. So I had a couple of months of what we may call a kind of depression, because I was really questioning my sanity. And then the feeling was so urgent, the feeling that I needed to find him, that I needed to find God, even though I had no idea who he was and I didn't really know where to start looking for him, that it truly pushed me to make a decision and say, okay, I need to go. Like, I need to leave everything. I resigned my job. It was really tough regarding my family because I have elderly parents. Right now I'm 34 and my dad is 87. So imagine like back then he was in his late 70s. So I was thinking, I'm leaving my parents. I don't know when I'm gonna see them again. I have no idea, like, honestly, how long this trip would last. And I had no idea either where to begin. So I started truly traveling. Just I made a leap of faith. I don't know, because I had no idea how I was gonna live. I had just some 800 euros in my pocket and I left. And I started traveling, and because I came from a very academic background, I thought, okay, I'm gonna do a degree. I'm gonna do a master's in religious studies to try to see if intellectually I can grasp some of his situation. And because while I was in Argentina these last months, a lot of things regarding the occultism, astrology, New Age starting to come to my life through friends, through people that were trying to give me advice in my spiritual crisis that I was having. And because I didn't really know any better, for me it was, okay, this must be a spiritual crisis. So I listened to them and I started really exploring astrology, and I became very passionate about this. So I started to be really curious about all these things. And then I did this master's about Western esotericism to expand and to really thinking that maybe I would find some answers there. Of course, after 2 years of that, I really didn't find any answers. I did the master's in Netherlands, and in between I was traveling. I was still like really searching for truth, though I didn't really know where could I find it. So I would explore anything. If somebody would say, okay, go to this monastery and do this meditation, okay, I would do it. If somebody would say, okay, try this yoga course, I would do it. Go to the Amazonas and try this experience, I would do it. And I tried really everything. After finishing my master's, I went to live for a year to a Buddhist monastery in Thailand, and I did a lot of meditation and really unusual types of meditation without sleeping and non-stop in 20 hours in a day, these kind of things. The point is that I was really looking for him, and I really explored deeply each of these paths that appear in front of me. I can mention, like, all the New Age stuff like Reiki and Kabbalah and all these kind of things. I truly didn't know any better. Then I went to live to a tantric island, like, for a year. The point is that I was really looking and also reading books, like Buddhist books and mysticism and Gurdjieff and this and that. And in between, I also started doing my practice of astrology because I became very passionate about all this, and I study a lot about that. And then the point is of all this that I never really stopped looking. You know, like I would go into these experiences and they would offer all these kind of promises, but they were all empty promises. And you have one initiation and another initiation, you know, and all. It really didn't lead to anything. And this pushed me to kept looking everywhere. And at some point in 2017, somehow it appeared this thing of a fast. I haven't really fasted before ever in my life, not even for a day. But I read some testimonies and I saw some videos of people that fast, and you know, they got really interesting spiritual experiences. So because I was looking still for such things, but honestly, what was really driving my heart was a true, honest search for God, that it was not really mine, because only years before I was just a normal girl in her 20s pursuing the things of the world. So it really had no merit, this change. It was something that now I see it was the providence of God, that he really put in my heart the aim, the fire, the really desire that moved. Like I left everything behind because I couldn't avoid it. It was not that I was brave. It was like he put this urgency in my heart and I needed to follow. I couldn't say no. Like he did everything. So at this point, 2017, I found out about this fast. It was a program of 108 days fast, and it was like only drinking juice. I was like, okay, I never did any fast, but I will do it. I will do 108 days because I want to do it for God. I want to try this, you know, if to see if like this I can find him. I didn't know any better then. But the point is that I started doing the fast. I really pray my way to him. I really asked him. And I didn't know who he was. For me, it was like God. Probably just a figment of my imagination, but something that was really, like I heard a whisper of him somehow that was pushing me towards all this. And then I started this fast, and 5 days into the fast, I started having all these pains in my stomach, and I'm feeling really, really bad. And this got worse and worse and worse. And it really didn't allow me to do anything. But I was so stubborn because I promised that I wanted to do this for God, that everybody was telling me to quit and I wouldn't. So my plans for the fast were to read about this group called Gnosticism. You know, in my intellectual pursuit, I found out about these people through Gurdjieff and Muraviev and these people that really doesn't matter. And then I had all these books to read, and before starting the fast, I was reading about Gnosticism. And the thing with these Gnostics is that they have a really distorted vision or theory regarding Jesus and the gospel. But the fact that they name him made me curious. You know, it was like I was reading all these quotations from the Bible, and I never read the Bible before. I was reading about this Jesus, and the only Jesus I had in my mind was the one from the Catholic Church, and I had a really negative view about the Catholic Church since small, because I read about the Inquisition and all these things. So because I didn't know any better, it was like this really horrible view I had about the church, the Catholic Church, I had about Jesus and everything that had to do with that, you know? So, but because, you know, I was doing this intellectual research, I thought, okay, I will get these Gospels and I will read them because I need to go to the source. You know, I was academic and I wanted to go to the source of what these very supposedly high mystical Gnostics were talking about. So I went and I got myself the manuscripts from the Dead Sea because, you know, I wouldn't get a Bible, but I wanted to see the sources. So I got this book, and there were the 4 Gospels there, and also all these Gnostic Gospels and all these other things. But I wanted to read these 4 Gospels. So I got the book, and the idea was to read them while I was doing the fast. I was taking these 3.5 months to do this fast in the woods, in a cottage, and really my idea was to dedicate to try to read these books and you know, continue reading the Gnostics and all that. So because I was feeling so bad for the first 2.5 months of the fast, I was not really able to start reading as it was my plan. But then, like around day 80 or 90 of this fast, I was feeling a little bit better. The point is that when I was like really, really feeling bad during the fast, I was really praying. I was in so much pain and I was just crying out to God. I remember one day that I was in the floor and I was just saying, please, please, God, please. Like not really having a thought. I was just desperate for him and I was really asking for him. And then I was able to start reading these Gospels. And I remember I started with Mark. I don't know why. Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. And I remember being in that couch, with the Jews, reading, and something happened. Like, it's truly hard to explain. But it was like something came to my heart. And it was like finding home, in a sense, in the words of Jesus. And it was really like, it's so hard to explain. It was like his words, it spoke really to my heart. And I started really crying a lot. And it was very intense. It was like something that it felt truth. Even though I was not really maybe understanding what he was saying, it was something that spoke to something deep in me. And I remember one night also during the fast that it dawned on me that Christ is God. It dawned on me. It was like one night I was like, oh my God, he's God. And they crucified him. And it broke my heart and I cried all the night. I remember it really, really broke. I was, oh no, he was God and they killed him. And I was so sad. But the days after that, I had a joy, it was like I felt his presence. I remember like just, washing maybe the glass of the juice and being there and just being joyful and happy and just crying out of happiness. And I was not really conscious about what was happening to me, honestly. And this was the beginning of 2018. And then, but I knew something real has happened. And I knew also that Jesus is who he says he is. And that never left me. And then I decided to start reading the Bible, but it took me time. Like I got the Bible and then I started researching a little bit. I was overwhelmed when I finished these 108 days. I was also a little bit confused about the whole process, but it was like something had changed. One thing that made me realize that something had really changed was the fact that I used to have a lot of problems with anger. Truly, throughout my life, I have ruined so many relationships because I had this anger that was not normal. I don't know how to explain it better. It was like something took hold of me and I would get like really furious, and people would say that even my eyes would change and they would become really ugly, like really, really, really angry. I couldn't control it. I remember that with all this process of the years of looking at myself and the meditation, I could realize that, it was not other people's fault. It was me that I had this, but I couldn't control it. I couldn't do anything about it. I could regret it. I could cry about it. I felt horrible once this thing would go away from me and I realized that I hurt the people that I love most, but I couldn't really do anything about it. And I remember after this happened with Jesus, something that very fastly manifested was the fact that I wouldn't get angry. I wouldn't get angry like that anymore. It was more like I was becoming very diplomatic, which I never was. I was always very conflictive. I was trying to avoid fights and conflicts, whereas before I would look for them. I would create them out of thin air. So I was amazed, like, what is going on? Something truly changed. Like, I couldn't explain it. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect in that sense, but the anger is not this crazy anger. It's a normal upsetness or anger. Before it was like crazy. Before it was crazy. Like, I think of that and I get so ashamed. I cannot believe what took hold of me for 30 years of my life. So that was a change that happened very, very fast. And then throughout 2018, I remember also one day that I was reading the Gospel of Luke, and it dawned on me also that I was not this person I thought I was. I always had like this image, like I'm really good at things, I'm very clever, or I'm doing this spiritual path, I'm special, like all these things that we have in our minds that is terrible. It's just all these illusions because we don't really realize how wretched we are, how sinful we are. So that concept never was in me. And reading Luke, it was speaking to me, and I remember like crying and saying, yes, it's true. I'm all these things. I'm so selfish. I was seeing my selfishness for the first time, and how that really permeated everything I do all the time. And it was really something, that moment. I remember it was for my 33rd birthday that I was really looking, this happened to me. And then I started researching, and I started trying to find. I came across totally by chance with a little clip from Paul Washer and about persecution, I remember, and I got curious about it, and I started listening to some sermons of Paul Washer. He was truly helpful because he was outlining things very clearly from the gospel and quite biblical. And through him, it was like, he was naming people that I never knew because, I come from this rejected Catholic background, so I don't know anything. So he would start mentioning Spurgeon. So I was like, who is this Spurgeon? And, so I got books online and I started reading the sermons of Spurgeon. And then he named the Puritans. And I was like, okay, who are these Puritans? And then I would get the books. And, so I started for the last year and a half, I would say, like, really studying, really reading a lot of these really good. I'm blessed. Like, I'm very lucky. I didn't find Joe Austin. I found really good books and authors and people that were like biblically sound. And then I started reading the Bible from cover to cover also. This was mostly from last year to this, because before I was like, okay, I was curious, who is this Daniel? And I would read a part of the Bible and so on and so forth. But now I started to, almost a year ago, I started like studying the Bible more systematically, and I can say that has really enhanced my faith a lot, because now I know who God is. Like, I know how his dignity, his majesty, that he does what he says, that his word is not void, that, and also what happened at some point is like, I found this book about assurance, because until some months ago, maybe half a year, I wouldn't even accept that I was a Christian, because for me it was such a big word that I was like, I'm not worthy. I'm not a Christian. Like, I'm a disaster. But then I read a book about assurance that it was analyzing 1 John and really seeing the fruits of salvation in a person's life. And in all honesty, I had like to say, okay, this is happening to me. This is happening to me. Yeah, I'm really imperfect, but this is truly happening to me. And I could take everything and I could kind of put the helmet of salvation in me and say, yeah, I'm saved. Like, Jesus, he did this for me, and I could see that he didn't left me in that life that I used to have. He could have left me in my normal life and I would be there still, just making money and having a job and who knows what. But he didn't. He took me out of that. And now I see that he made me explore everything. So I was so sure when I found the truth, because I have explored so many things that were void, so many things that promised things and had nothing, that I always kept looking for new experiences and new supposed truths and philosophies. But there was nothing in them, in those. And when Jesus touched my heart, I had no doubt that is the truth, because I know all the rest is false, and I can recognize when something is true after so many times that I searched for things and I realized that they were false. And also because of the change that he's making in me. They are like truly, like he turned my life upside down completely. It was like an earthquake, because my life until then, it was very much based in New Age. Like, I was doing my astrological work, I had clients, I was doing this and that. And when I started understanding that these things were not okay, that God is protecting us from playing with these things, I start like putting away books, and stopping, even if I didn't have any income, I was stopping my activity. But God never left me. He never really at all. Like, he always protected me. He always supported me, even when I made these decisions, like in miraculous ways. Like, money would come for me to be able to pay the rent and for me to be able to buy food. So, I have no doubt that God exists. I have no doubt that he works in miraculous ways. I have no doubt that he saved me. So, yes, basically with all this that happened to me, and the acceptance that I was and I am a Christian, I now feel really the need to be baptized because I didn't know before. Like, I know about baptism, and the little things I know about these denominations make me think, okay, maybe this is, maybe this is not essential, because some people say yes. I haven't really researched that. I had to research so many things and understand so many things of the doctrine, that of Christianity, of salvation, of justification, of everything, that, yeah. But from a little time from now, like, I start feeling, okay, I want to be baptized. Why not? And then I found out, like, it's a command from Jesus, so I really want to do it. What things had Jesus changed in my life? Everything, I think. Not only the way I live, but mainly my two things, I think, like my sensitivity towards sin and my taste. Like, before, I would be okay with certain things and also desire certain things that now, not out of my mind, not out of ideas, but out of truly dislike and rejection, I didn't want anymore. For example, a very silly example, but I love to watch movies, and now I cannot even watch one movie because I'm disgusted about all the blasphemy, all the fornication, all the things that happen. I had to look away. And when I started realizing that I needed to look away because it was like repulsive to me, I was like, okay, I cannot see movies. And like that happened with many things. Also, like, now, if I reply badly, or if I do something that, like, very fast, I know that it's not okay. Something in me. Like, before, I used to justify myself. Oh, well, he said like this, or she did like that, and okay, it's normal that I replied like this, or that I'm impatient, or whatever. Now it's like, no, it's not okay. Like, you were not kind, and it's very fast that I feel it. Also, hypocrisy has gone away. Before, it was like, I would get into an argument or in a situation, and it was all about winning. It was all about being right. And now it's honestly like saying, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm a disaster, or I did this that was not okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Before, that would have never happened. Like, no. Still, I'm in a time in which Jesus is truly showing me how unable I am to avoid failure without him. Because, yeah, I was always used to think like, I can do it, or I can study, or I can do that, and now he's showing me that without him, I cannot do anything. Without him, I'm really a failure, but not because of self-esteem or whatever. It's because it's true. It's true. Like, I wake in the morning and I say, okay, I don't want to do these things, and the things I don't want to do, I do, like Paul says, but the feeling afterwards is terrible. And God is so patient with me. He's so patient with me, and he's showing me so much. So I truly, truly hope that the Holy Spirit keeps sanctifying me. Oh my God, he has so much work to do in me, because I'm the least of sinners. I'm a disaster, but I'm never discouraged, because I trust his promises so much. He said that the work he starts in someone, he will finish it. And he has the power to do it. He has the power to even change a person like me. So I trust. I don't despair. I can see, and it makes me really sad. It breaks my heart to feel that I'm not loyal to him, that I love him, but I cannot follow him perfectly. He says, if you love me, you follow my commandments. And I'm like, I'm a failure, but I fight. I fight because I want to follow him, but I know I cannot do it without his help, because my flesh is this. But he's showing me all that. But he doesn't let me despair. I have joy. I can be sad because I see certain things, but I have the joy of the assurance that he's my father, that I'm his child, and that he has a plan for my life. Because otherwise, he would have left me where I was. He's not playing games. He's not some cynical, cruel God. He's a loving God, a just God that will show me the right way. He will discipline her daughter when I need to be disciplined, and I'm happy for that, and I'm thankful for that. But also that he's not playing games. He has a plan, and I trust that. So I'm so, I'm so, I will be all eternity thankful for what Jesus did, for how God mercifully took me away from that life and brought me to the cross. Even if it took 5, 6 years of knocking other doors, the moment he came and showed me the cross, my unrest, my searching stopped. I found. I tell this to people. I found. I look throughout all the world. I travel from Latin America to Asia. I look for every experience, and I never found until him. And I always tell people this because I have to talk with friends who are in the new age. People who were my friends, and they are like, they don't understand what's going on with me. And I always try to talk to them through this position that I understand you, because I used to have all these visions about Jesus Christ that were wrong, visions that the world would program me, that false religion will program me without knowing him. So I know how you feel. Please let me share to you what he did for me and who he truly is. And this has given me so much blessings too, because unexpectedly, even with people that I might have been reluctant or worried to talk about, I would pray before. Like, I have a lot of homosexual friends, and I would say, okay, this conversation will be hard because they have this vision from the world, like they would very fast reject Christianity because they feel that it's condemning them. But I try to tell them, we are all sinners. My sin is not better than anybody else, or no worse than anybody else, and your sin is no worse than anybody else. So from that point of view, I was even able to talk and to take all sorts of people to the Bible by being sincere about what he did for me, by being open only. And I don't know anything, I'm learning. I'm a new Christian. I'm an immature Christian. I know that. But God is so, so generous. He's already given me that opportunity, that joy, that blessing of sharing the gospel with other people. So I'm very, even with my mom, so I'm very, very grateful because she was very, very, very Catholic. So yeah, basically this is my testimony. I think I cannot express all the things Jesus has done for me. The sheer joy I feel, and the security I feel, even in front of dangers, I'm trusting. I know I know I'm not alone. I know that by myself I'm a coward, but he's with me. So all things, even things that look very dangerous or very painful, I trust all things will work out for good because he's in charge. So I'm sorry if I was a little bit disorganized with the story or with what happened with me, but I truly hope this might help someone. What I can tell is that Jesus is real. He's real. He can change a person. He can change a person's heart. He can change a person's life. He can give a peace that is not of this world. And yeah, I hope you find him. I hope he finds you and that he touches your heart. God bless.